Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The Nature Repair Market Bill is version 2.0 of legislation that was cooked up by the former Agriculture Minister, the member for Maranoa. No one in this House should be surprised that the Coalition will be supporting this bill, because it's virtually a carbon copy of theirs. It's almost as if, after spending a decade in opposition, Labor decided to simply morph into the Liberal Party to form government. And as the former government was hardly well known for environmental protection, what can we expect of this bill? It's a bit embarrassing that the first major piece of environmental legislation to come before this parliament is a recycled coalition bill. There's no environmental protection agency, no repair of our clearly broken environmental laws. This is after the Environment Minister on national radio used the excuse that she was constrained by law as the reason she approved a new coal mine. And I asked her about it in question time recently, and she couldn't answer that either. So I'm sorry, who is it that makes laws in this country? Shouldn't it be the first priority of the Environment Minister to change the law to allow rejection of coal mines on the grounds that they will damage the environment and will make the climate crisis worse? Apparently not. The Environment Minister instead proposes this bizarre scheme that, rather than facilitating environmental repair, actually facilitates endless opportunities for greenwashing and for a few landholders to make a buck. It's no wonder the Environment Minister termed this Green Wall Street. I couldn't quite believe it when I heard her use that language from a self-described progressive Labor government. That language clearly demonstrates yet again the comprehensive capture of this government by their corporate friends, prioritising yet again their interests over the needs of everyday people and the environment. In another sign of a government very beholden to private corporations, this bill actually privatises environmental protection, thereby ensuring that it will absolutely fail. It shouldn't be news to the Environment Minister that the market is profit-driven. The market doesn't care about koalas. The market doesn't care about protecting our reefs or our precious mangrove habitats. Why can't the government just take responsibility to actually govern, to actually provide for and support everyday Australians, rather than forever handing everything over to the private market? It's happening across the board with this government. They won't build housing, they won't directly address the climate crisis, they'll outsource our aged care and disability care sectors. They just hand everything over to private corporations. And now the Environment Minister is very happy to let private corporations profit from trade in bogus offsets and spruiken to advertise and benefit commercially from their supposed environmental credentials, instead of the government actually doing the work of a good government and actually investing directly in the future of the environment. This bill sees no direct government investment in protecting our environment for future generations, but we do seem to have plenty of money to invest in nuclear submarines, plenty for financing fossil fuel projects and subsidising fossil fuel use, but no direct funding, Deputy Speaker, for environmental protection. As with the housing bill, they're really hoping that the private market will actually do their work for them, and I think that's a lazy sort of abrogation of government responsibility, Deputy Speaker. Is it a good idea to hand over this particular important responsibility of protecting our environment holus bolus to the private market? Without watertight regulations, corporations will obviously purchase these biodiversity certificates to greenwash, and this bill will actually provide the perfect cover for their continued environmental destruction. For example, under this bill, Santos, for example, will be able to claim they are protecting the environment while continuing to pollute, continuing to destroy sacred First Nations sites and desecrating the environment. Under this bill, for example, Woodside will be able to purchase a few of these biodiversity certificates and run a glossy PR campaign to try to repair their image, benefiting only Woodside and their marketing team, clearly not the environment. Under this bill, our banks will be able to continue investing in fossil fuels while claiming they care about the environment. So the problems with carbon offsets are well known, And there's absolutely nothing in this bill to suggest that these biodiversity certificates will function any differently. In fact, the original version of this bill, proposed by the member for Maranoa, took its crediting framework almost exactly from the Carbon Farming Initiative Act. Those offsets were so questionable they had to be put under independent review. In opposing this bill, the Greens are not alone. Many environmental groups have raised their concerns, only to be ignored by the government. The Wilderness Society has urged the government not to pass the bill in its current form, describing it as a market in the absence of clear objectives or any caps or limits on environmental damage, and at best a scheme for habitat loss trade-offs. In fact, a similar scheme in New South Wales has been the subject of a scathing review, describing it as having no strategy for making sure it delivered the environmental outcomes required. Despite the clear failure of this in New South Wales, the Labor government is showing no signs of deviating from the market-based path to failure with this bill. Labor's Nature Repair Market Bill is a bizarre joke. It says, OK, let's give some weird certificates to huge private corporations so they can make money greenwashing, while actual native habitat and crucial carbon sinks are destroyed. Huge nature-destroying corporations are the problem. Why has the government decided all of a sudden that they should be trusted to be the solution? They need to be reined in and regulated, Deputy Speaker, not given a new market to play around with to make more money. I'm sorry, but Labor's nature repair market will see an increase in habitat destruction in pursuit of profit. It's going to see an increase in extinctions of our endangered species. It'll see an increase in the decline of our reef. And perhaps most importantly, it will see an increase in the number of coal and gas projects approved in this country, making the climate crisis worse. You can't offset your way out of environmental catastrophe, just like you can't offset your way out of the climate crisis.